and welcome back to the pod you're looking for. I'm Josh, and this is Sam, and this is going to be the Jurassic review you're looking for. We just watched Jurassic World Rebirth last night.
Haven't said a word to each other.
Not a single word.
I haven't even looked at you as long as you've been in my house.
We also got to see the first trailer, a little teaser for the Odyssey.
Huge.
I'm really excited to talk about that.
Huge. This is major. They're only showing it in theaters, by the way. It's not.
Yes.
You can't find. I mean, you can find like people take videos of it on their phone and put it on YouTube, but the actual trailer is only showing in theaters before Jurassic World right now. So
yeah, I've seen a bunch of people saying buying my ticket to Jurassic World just so I can go see the Odyssey
for the
trailer.
really?
And then leaving right after.
That's funny.
Imagine if they missed it.
Yeah, we got to talk about that then.
It was pretty cool how they did it though. With I thought they were going into the movie. And then they start panning, so I was like, I guess I missed it. Like, when they did the roller coaster, and I was like, okay, so we're in.
Right.
Then they, pan it down, so it looks like the movie's starting, and I was like, this is not Jurassic World until it hit me.
Yeah, it was a weird thing where it said something like, I thought my theater glitched out, because it said the following preview has been rated whatever for general audiences, but then it started showing on all the title cards, and it was doing it slow, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe it was a glitch or something, and then John Bernthal was just there in a toga, and I was like, wow. Okay.
Didn't know we had this. Yeah. Didn't know I signed up for this.
All right. What are your thoughts? Or do we... First of all...
Yes, we...
Hold on just a second.
let the people know.
We got to put the business booming and rising. The business we could not be more up right now.
No.
The podcast is rocking and rolling, dude.
It is.
You and I have been texting choo-choo back and forth to each other because the train feels like it has left the station and only picked up speed since we started this.
Now is the time to jump on before it gets going too fast.
100%. But hey, regardless of when you jump on, we welcome you with open arms.
Yes, we love all the engagement. Keep up with the comments, whether it's telling us we're delusional, telling us that we don't need a podcast. That's great too.
Dude, my favorite comments.
This is why people like you don't need a podcast.
Brennan said something. Brennan was in the comments saying this is some people don't do a podcast.
Yeah, we'll get him on. First guest.
Let me rattle some stuff off. Well, first of all, you and I were on vacation. We went through this last week. We were on vacation with 2 Wednesdays ago to last Wednesday. So we normally record and get the episodes out on Wednesdays, but we were behind a little bit because we were behind on that Friday. We were chilling out on a beach somewhere. So we had to make up for lost time. We recorded. I posted it that day on Friday. Let me read some stats. In the last 6 days, 200 new followers on Instagram, 170 new followers on TikTok and counting, 20 new subscribers on YouTube. Our first episode on YouTube crossed over 100 views, which is huge.
Wow.
4,000 likes on TikTok in the last, do you want to say 4 days? Not even, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Over 100,000 accumulated views on YouTube.
Wow.
That is crazy, dude.
Choo-choo.
That is crazy, dude. And
That's
you
awesome.
and I, we went over this, and unfortunately, it seemed like, I don't know if you noticed this, apparently the audio-only version of the podcast on Spotify, there was some glitch. It got, cut off.
Cut short, yeah.
The last, minute on Spotify got cut off when we were talking about it. You and I started this podcast. We didn't tell a soul. We didn't tell anybody. I think even, when you came over to record, because the podcast set is in my house, when Josh came over the first time, my family was like, what are you guys doing? Nobody knew. We didn't tell anyone. And so any growth that has happened has literally just been organic people finding the show and supporting it in their own way. And that has just been the coolest thing ever. I don't think you or me expected...
Not at all.
...to enjoy, hearing from people as much as we have been. Even if, people are telling us in comment sections, how wrong we are, the amount of, excitement that you and I get when people agree with us or somebody comes in, I think it was for the Pirates of the Caribbean take, where I had mentioned that it might be the greatest trilogy of all time. Somebody came in and said something like, I didn't know somebody else had this take. I thought I was the only one. That's the coolest thing ever. That's so cool. And the hope is that down the line we'd be able to build a community out and have people that are coming back, recurrently. But it's just been so cool to interact with you guys and to see you guys enjoy what we're putting out, and even to see you hating it.
Yeah.
That gives us a great amount of joy.
We love any feedback. We're so grateful to everyone who's watching it all, commenting or anything. Getting both those sides of it. I think on a video where you get people being like, okay, I see where you're coming from. Mm-hmm. You also get people saying this is perfect.
Yes.
But just those people, man, that absolutely hate your take is perfect. That's what makes it, man.
There's just so much. Yeah. Because you and I think if there's one thing that we love more than having an opinion that people agree with is just poking the bear.
Yeah.
We love poking the bear.
Gotta poke the bear.
We love milking the pony, and we love poking the bear.
Gotta get the quota filled.
So this has been huge, but we thank you guys for the support. And we're only just getting started.
Yes.
I mean, you think about it, we've only had 2 episodes with, like, the actual camera that we intend to use. The first, like, 3 or 4 episodes were, like, with that crappy camera that we are never returning to as long as we live. And, but yeah.
I think the I made it moment for me would be people going back to our first video and, like, having people comment on that video and be like, look at how far it's come and how much it's changed.
Yeah.
That would be, like, the moment that I'm like, man, okay. This is pretty sweet.
That would be really cool.
Do we want to touch on Odyssey now?
I would like to touch on Odyssey. Yeah, of course. Yeah. You said you had a couple takes.
Well, first thing that came to my mind when I was watching it, that made me laugh a little, I kind of didn't realize quite the date of it yet. So you have now, with the recent reports of Jon Bernthal being potentially as Punisher in Spider-Man 4, you have now a chance that back-to-back weekends, Tom Holland and Jon Bernthal are going to be the main stars of like the biggest 2 movies of the summer.
That's right.
Which is really funny, right? Yeah. So they're going to be just on nonstop press tour that whole summer.
I hope they like each other.
Yeah, seriously. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
I didn't even put that together yet.
I didn't either, yeah.
Right? Anyway, I thought it looked great. Looked really good, and I think it was enough of a tease, like we've talked about, that they really didn't give us much at all. Mm-hmm. But it was encouraging to see what we had seen already, because I know for a while it's been like being talked about as in development, and to like really see it come to life was really cool.
Christopher Nolan runs such like a tight shift here. Like he's so locked down one after the other thing. This movie was announced like 9 months ago. The poster came out, the first like image of it, of Matt Damon dressed as Odysseus or whatever, came out like a week after the movie was announced. So people were already getting fitted in costumes, and like they were already in production. 2 months later, you're seeing them like filming actual, like they're in like these like enormous longboats like on the actual ocean with camera rigs. Christopher Nolan's in the boat with like a life vest. It's like crazy. You already have a trailer for it and a poster. Like, you see, I think I've been so exhausted, and I think you'll agree, of like these movies where it's like the formula where it's like we shoot, then we reshoot. Maybe the director leaves halfway through and we find a new person, and it's just this, it's like getting churned out, and we're building this thing out as we go. To see a director with such a strong vision where from the start he knows what he wants, it's just so refreshing to see a movie come together organically, like the way a movie should. And it gives you so much... Like, Christopher Nolan, I don't think there's a director I have more confidence in. Maybe Denis Villeneuve with Dune. But there's not a director I have more confidence in to, like, put out a product that's, like, I can sit in the theater and know... The movie hasn't started yet. I know everything I'm about to see is exactly the way Christopher Nolan wanted it to be. There's no studio interference. There's no, like, too many cooks in the kitchen. Like, this is exactly the way Christopher Nolan wanted this thing to look, feel, sound. And, like, there's so much... It's the same with, like, Quentin Tarantino. Like, there's just so much excitement that comes with seeing somebody's art and knowing that it's, like, in its purest form. This is exactly... Is the Odyssey Christopher Nolan's, like, original creation? No. But, like, this is exactly how the Christopher Nolan Odyssey like was always intended to look. I think there's like a great amount of excitement and trust you can have in a filmmaker like that, and I think it's really cool.
Totally. Do you think this film is going to pass like $2 billion in the box office?
$2 billion, no. $1 billion, I think. Yeah, it's
you don't think so? Look at the cast, dude.
I know. The cast is a huge draw. I think we're so. I think Endgame changed so much in terms of like what a movie could make. And Avatar too. But it's tricky, like, even with Oppenheimer being as good as it was, it still didn't even come close to $2 billion.
Yeah.
And that's much more of a, I mean, that's more of a, it's the American scientist who created the atomic bomb. So it's much more of a niche story that was made by a filmmaker that's loved all over. This is more of a story that's been adored for generations all over, that's being made for people all over. Like, so there's more of a draw there. I don't know if... it's tricky. I don't know. I just think the culture around movies has changed so much where I think a story that's this sophisticated might just not draw an audience that will turn back $2 billion.
Okay.
I would love for it to.
Yeah.
Gosh, prove me wrong, but yeah, I don't know.
I did also want to touch on a couple things, just news related.
Got some galactic transmissions.
We named the pod after a Star Wars related thing, right?
Yeah.
And we have barely touched on Star Wars at all on this pod so far. And that's just more a circumstance of not having much coming out right now.
There's just nothing.
If we had started before Andor, we probably would have been talking about that at some point. But I did want to touch on news that Obi-Wan Season 2 is now in development, that they did greenlight that.
This is 100% confirmed?
100% confirmed.
Wow. Okay.
Shout out Daniel RPK. So,
he's the man.
He is the man. So, it is confirmed. I have really mixed feelings on this.
Okay.
I was very disappointed by the first season because of how high I had expectations for it. There was some really cool moments. But again, for a season 2, my issue is for Obi-Wan at this point. Who are his biggest draws toward what we could do to make it a good season would be Darth Maul, Darth Vader. It's really that simple to me. And I don't know how many times you can keep drawing back to the same well of, Vader and Obi-Wan fight again. Mm-hmm. They've had this happen like 16 times at this point. Not really.
Yeah.
But it feels like it with how many times we've seen it now. Where before it felt like a very special thing that when they meet in A New Hope, it's like, wow, this is the first time they've seen each other in ages. Which I know still fits the mold because Obi-Wan Season 2 would probably be taking place still pretty quick after Revenge. But still, to me, it's just like, I think you ruin it slowly by doing that fight so many more times. So, to me, I don't know what else you could add in to an Obi-Wan Season 2 to make it worth it to me to watch it. Not that I wouldn't love to see Ewan back again, but...
Of course. Yeah. There are angles you could take. There is, like, the training with Qui-Gon. Mm-hmm. There is... He can't meet Luke again. He can't. We gotta stop putting him and Luke in the same place. Like, he can't. Like, maybe watch him. But, like, even... I don't know, dude. I agree with you. There's just nowhere else you could take the story that would really compel me to come back in the same way we all did for Season 1. And we were there for Season 1... It was the idea of Obi-Wan and Anakin actually fighting one more time before A New Hope felt so impossible. Even though the door was open, that you were like, I just have to see how they do this. At this point, like you were saying, like the suspense of disbelief is not there anymore. Like you're like at this point, you're dragging it a little bit.
You've used it, yeah.
And I have a take here.
Okay,
I have a hot take. Okay. We're doing hot takes before Burner.
Oh,
I think the biggest mistake Dave Filoni has ever made, as long as he's been in charge of Star Wars content, is killing Darth Maul in Rebels.
Dude,
the biggest mistake he has ever made, and he's made a couple whoppers, but that is the biggest. That is the dumbest thing he could have done. Again, when you're making that show at that time, I'm sure Kenobi Season 1 was not on the table. There's stories about, like, scripts, and I don't know if you've seen, there's, like, the guy who wrote the original script for, it was originally going to be a Kenobi trilogy when Disney first bought the rights to Star Wars. Mm-hmm. They were going to do a Kenobi trilogy, and there was a team of people that were tasked with writing a Kenobi trilogy. It was going to involve, I want to say it was more Vader focused still, but obviously Maul was not totally off the table then. He's off the table now. Like, it's just the dumbest thing they could have done. If Maul lived through Rebels, you could make an argument for Kenobi Season 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
But you can't. There's nothing else I really want Kenobi to do. It's not even that there's not a story I wouldn't want to see told with Kenobi. He shouldn't be doing anything. People are like, oh, you mean to tell me that he stayed on Tatooine and guarded Luke that whole time? Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, I do.
That was the whole point of New Hope.
I do mean to tell you that. That's exactly what because that's what he intended to do at the end of Revenge. Mm-hmm. That's what he intended to do after the first season of Kenobi. He should be on Tatooine right now. And so I don't know if that means you send bounty hunters after him, Boba Fett, Bosk. I don't know what you do, but like killing Darth Maul is the dumbest thing that they could have done. Was it done great? Of course, but like in the context of now, there's projects that really would benefit from Maul's presence. You're making new Star Wars episodes. You're making new Star Wars spin-off movies. You're making Kenobi Season 2. Like Maul should be here, and he's not because you just had to rush this Maul thing.
They could have so easily done a thing like a Kingpin Daredevil thing, where it's like just constantly going back and forth, where even when one feels like it's down, it's always working behind the scenes to fight against the other.
When you describe it like that, it just...
Right, yeah. You could have had it perfect like that.
Yeah.
And I'll take it a step further from what you said. Outside of their decision to kill him off in Rebels, which I know felt like in the moment like a very conclusive and like peaceful way to like end that. Like, it was fine. Yeah, like I didn't mind it. But at the same time, like I do think Darth Maul is the best thing that Disney has done with Star Wars. since they bought. Mm-hmm. And I really think that's a pretty, outside of maybe Rogue One, I'd be totally fine keeping that as my take. I mean, what they do with him in Clone Wars, dude, he's unbelievable in Clone Wars.
Perfect.
He's the reason Season 7 is so awesome. Mm-hmm. And there was so much left there that they leave in the final bit there with Ahsoka that they leave on the table. That, can you imagine what it could have looked like? And I saw that they just announced, too, that they're doing like an animated show for it, which I'm a big fan of.
Maul Shadow Lord.
Yeah.
But it suffers from the same problem of Kenobi. Is like, how much story can you tell with this guy?
Yeah, and you know where it goes. Right. So
he starts the crime syndicates, but clearly they don't go anywhere. Mm-hmm. Like, we've seen Solo. We've seen Rebels when he dies. We know how he ends up. He ends up a bum.
Yeah. Like
an angry bum who, I don't know.
And just ruins it. Yeah.
So I don't know what they could do.
I don't know.
Would we be seated? Probably.
Yeah, I would 100% watch that.
I just don't know what they would do.
I'm definitely watching the animated show. I'll tell you that.
For Kenobi Season 2 to be good, would they have to retcon something? Like, would this have to be the project where they actually go that step and they retcon an enormous thing to make this good?
Yeah.
What would you do? Maul?
Yeah, you just, that 100%. You make Rebels.
Because then it gets so hairy. Rebels non-canon? Yeah. Well, no, because then that would render Ahsoka useless.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't know how
Which
you find
it already is in my mind, but we'll talk about that.
I don't know how... Yeah, that'll be for another day. I don't know how you do it, but if there was a time for them to go back on something, I think Star Wars is the perfect use of where I'd be okay with it. For the sake of the good of future projects. Because it's not really ruining any past ones, except for Rebels, maybe. But... like, it's not like it hinders the original 6.
Right. At all. No, not at all.
So,
at this point, nobody cares.
No.
Yeah. Like, at this point, I'd like a story from Star Wars that's not complete and utter garbage.
Yeah. I would rather hate that they did that than hate all the future projects coming out.
Yeah.
So, I think it makes it worth it.
The demand for Star Wars, I don't think people are asking for that much anymore. I think people are so traumatized. It's like the prisoner that's been held in the basement by the psycho that at this point is like, you know what? You don't have to set me free. Can I have a Snickers bar?
Yeah. Which, now that you said that makes me think, did you, we won't get into too much of this now, because I think you had something else for Greg. Did you notice the amount of, like, sponsorships in that movie last night in Rebirth?
I did.
There was an unbelievable amount.
This entire movie has been sponsored by, like, everything in a Cumberland farm.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Perfect, like, the whole, okay, I don't want to say too much, but perfect, like, situations at certain places. And, like, everything's run down except for, like, the nice stand that had, like, all the chips. The Lay's chips.
The dinosaurs, like, stepping on an orange crutch.
They had that. Yeah. The Snickers bar at the beginning. Like, it's just funny.
Feeding them liquor the whole time.
It's funny. They had, like, a whole thing.
All right. I have one more Galactic Transmission. This is a little more emotionally loaded. I just have to get this off my chest because we're both in the same place. And serendipity would have it. We're both baseball fans. My Galactic Transmission is that the New York Yankees completely suck. New York Yankees completely suck, and it's the implosion is happening at the hands of your team, the Toronto Blue Jays, who
I didn't want to do it to you. I was thinking about wearing the hat before today, but then I
put it on. Go all the way.
We got the Blue Jays hat out.
You gotta be kidding me.
Guess what else we got out today?
Uh-oh.
Big old brooms. Big old brooms. We got big old brooms out. We're sweeping today. 4-game sweep.
Unbelievable. This is happening. What was our lead at one point? 7 games?
Yeah, you were up. I looked at this the other day. May 20.
Hold on, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Just keep going.
May 29th. May 29th, you were 8.5 ahead of us.
We had like an 11-game lead on the Orioles at one point, didn't we?
Yeah. Dude. After today, first place. We're huge baseball fans, and this
not anymore.
I can't tell you how much it means to me. I am having the most fun I've had watching this, like the Blue Jays right now, than I've had since like 2015.
Well, you've had a good couple months because I know they didn't start strong, but they signed Vladimir Guerrero, which was your big. That was your guy, your big guy. Emphasis on big because he is enormous.
All right.
8,000 pounds. I can't even believe it, dude. I'm watching us find ways to lose that I've never seen a professional team lose before. I'm like, this is insane. Anthony Volpe needs to be hung from a construction crane by his ankles.
It was a weird night last night for me because I had seen the Jays went up 7-0 in the first inning. and I went like, because I knew I was going to be able to watch most of the game because I was going to be in the movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, dude, like, great. So then I opened my phone, like, middle to end of the movie, and it's 9-9. And I was like, are you kidding me? They blew it? And then, of course, my connection goes. So I just couldn't figure it out at all.
Yeah.
And I leave the movie then, and finally get connection back, and I see we won 11-9, dude. I wish I could have seen the whole game, but man, what a game.
It was like it was the top of the 7th. I think you guys were up 6-0, and then like Aaron Judge hit a home run. Somebody hit something. Was it Bellinger
Judge hit
or something?
The homer to put us up.
Yeah, somebody was hitting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't Volpe, I'll tell you that.
Well, by the time this episode comes out, the Jays should have sole possession of first place, so we will be enjoying that.
And I will
That's perfect.
I will be floating in a creek. Belly up in a creek.
All right. I think now is the time we finally get to it. We've been teasing the people all episode, so I've mentioned it about 4 times. So
this is killing me. I need to talk about this movie.
All right. I want to go ahead and give a little countdown and give our rating out of 10.
Okay.
For this movie.
Yep.
Again, one last piece on that. We do like decimal points here. So
yes,
that's for future reference. We always do that. Yeah.
Like 4.8.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So our rating of Jurassic World Rebirth. 3, 2, 1. 7.3. Okay.
Cool.
So we're in the same ballpark.
I like it.
We're in the same ballpark.
I like it. I was curious to see if because we got the same Mission Impossible like down to the decimal point. I was curious.
I was a little worried there too. People are going to start thinking something's up.
All right, you go first. What are your preliminary thoughts on Jurassic World Rebirth?
So I'm going to start this off talking non-spoiler wise. So I'm going to try and just talk about the main things overall that don't go into specifics.
Okay.
Just for people that might have not seen it. So this part you can listen to.
Okay.
I think first off, the big glaring thing is visually this movie looked incredible. I think it was colorful. It was the sets were beautiful across the board. They used different. I think sometimes Jurassic Park and World have hindered from using a smaller, campy kind of vibe, where you end up being a little more like it feels like you're just around the same little jungle area.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like they used a great amount of like. It didn't feel forced at all, but there was like about 6 like different sets that were like perfect for making you feel different ways for things. So I thought that was incredible. Everything on the ocean was fantastic. And I know a lot of people probably saw that from the trailer because that's one of the main things they were promoting. Mm-hmm. That whole set was crazy.
I will say they show a lot in the trailers. They don't show everything. There's some specific shots that like I'm so glad they saved for the movie because they were great.
The whole back half of the movie they didn't even touch on really at all.
Yep.
I thought that was great. Scarlett Johansson, fantastic. I loved her in this movie. I thought she did really good. I thought the cast overall was pretty good. There wasn't anybody really that annoyed me too much. This is probably on me a little bit. Sometimes I get a little annoyed by the use of children in films because I feel like it's like a trope that's a little overdone where it's like, oh, silly kid gets into trouble, we got to go rescue him. Mm-hmm. I didn't feel that annoyed about the family involved in the movie either.
No.
I felt like that was fine.
And I'll say, if there's a franchise that does that well, it's Jurassic Park / World. The 100%. Jurassic franchise, even in Jurassic World 1, when it was the 2 boys and they were trying to force the whole dynamic where the parents are getting divorced and stuff, it still felt they played a role, and it didn't feel like they were 2 clumsy humans that just like stumbled into like chaos. It felt like the chaos was happening and they just happened to be victims of it. Like I feel like the franchise does that well, where it's like nobody's really stupid, totally stupid. There's a couple stupid people. Nobody's really stupid. It's more just like stupid people that are surrounded by chaos. Like the chaos is not happening because these people are like, and they like bump into a button. Like the chaos is already going on and they just are victims to it because they're idiots.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to give a few of your thoughts too.
No, keep going.
I thought the CGI looked great.
I'll say this. I'll say that. Probably there were a couple. Again, this happens in every movie. A couple shots where it was like the CGI was like for a second. I was like, some of the, like when it was rocking though. Mm-hmm. Some of the most immersive CGI I think I've ever seen in my life. Like Pirates of the Caribbean level CGI. Like where you can't tell. You can't tell real from fake.
Yeah, some of the like the T-Rex they have looked incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know if you felt this. There was one scene with there was one time I noticed it. Do you remember when the doctor is?
This is spoilers.
I don't think this is too much.
Oh, it's minor. Okay.
I don't think this is really anything.
Okay.
He's reaching out to touch something.
Yeah.
And, like, it looked like his hand was about to phase through or was not touching the dinosaur at all. And I remember specifically sitting there okay.
Yeah.
That was a little
that whole sequence. I do want to touch on that sequence as a whole though, because I loved that sequence.
Oh really? I actually have something to say about that.
You do?
That I did not like.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
you want to lead that into your cons, and then I'll go?
I have a few more pros real quickly. I went with my dad to see this movie. I'm not a big reader, so he kind of filled me in on this.
Yeah.
But before the scene happened, there's a specific point where a scene. I don't know how to say it without. There's a specific thing that happens that is directly taken from the book. And he told me about what was going to happen before it happened, and it happened exactly like he said.
Oh, your dad's read the book?
Yes, he's read the book.
Wow.
So it was pretty cool that they did that kind of tie back. I think that's always interesting. Not that I was a big reader of those books or anything, but that's still interesting to me. I thought for the most part the pacing was pretty good. I think it was. I mean, there was a billion times action, whatever you think. The whole movie has everything going on. There was a couple points I think where when there wasn't action happening, it felt a little stale.
Okay.
But I only felt that once, and maybe it was the drive to want to check my phone to see if the score had updated. But but for the most part, I mean, there was action the whole movie.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think I have anything else specifically. I did feel like the movie gave me a little bit of a tie in between Jurassic Park and. I don't know if you saw this movie, came out a little while ago. Alien Romulus. I totally got that vibe from this movie. There was a lot of
especially the final act, because the dinosaur, the main dinosaur, kind of looks like a alien.
It looked
creature.
Exactly like.
Kind of looks like the xenomorph.
Yes, that's exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
Looked like that.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to start us off with some of your negatives here?
Happily, yeah.
Okay.
do you have negatives first, or
I do have negatives, but you go first.
Okay, well I'll start with my positives. The
right.
CGI that was one of my main points. Even 20 minutes in, it was something I wanted to say. The sequence with what is the water dinosaur? What was it called?
The Mesosaurus, I think, or
sure,
something, right? Something like that.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
That whole sequence, It just felt there was no separation between CGI and real people. It just was very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt invested in some way, shape, or form with all of the characters, even if my investment was I can't wait for this character to get eaten alive.
Mm-hmm.
The movie did a good job at having you feel some sort of an investment in every character. I'll say every character that lasted more than 20 minutes.
Yeah.
The tension was real, and I think that's the hard thing is for these one-off movies, it's really hard to believe that in a 2-hour span you're gonna be able to sit down these days and care about these characters, because you're so used to the franchise formula of I need 3 movies to care about these people, that there's always a fear in the back of my mind when I'm sitting down for something like this where I'm I just hope I care about this person. I did. All the tension built, and I felt it. It wasn't I was on the edge of my seat wiping sweat off my palms, but I really was feeling for these characters in these tense moments. And again, that's partly attributed to just the quality of the CGI and the production, the sound design, everything. I felt the music and the use of the music, the original score, tastefully done. Not too much, where it's the Star Wars effect in the sequels, where it's every time they wanted you to feel something, they just played the Force theme, and you're oh, I guess I'm supposed to be tearing up here. I guess that's my cue. And you almost feel like you're a sheep a little bit. Mm-hmm. In this, it felt I think the original theme only played 3 times, and it was for maybe 45 seconds at a time. So the rest of the time, it was a totally original score that didn't even really take beats from the original theme. It more just kind of it stood on its own, and it flowed very nicely. It felt true to the Jurassic franchise and the Jurassic World. I just really, as a movie score buff, I just really appreciated how they withheld the theme but included it at the absolute I can't think of a moment where they should have included it and didn't. It was tastefully done. Those are my main pros. The cons, one is less of a con and more, I just don't I think I never had enough emotional investment to really like I was never going to walk into this movie like standing up and clapping at the end, or hating it if it was bad. And I see people saying all the time like, or I see people saying like this week about this movie that like they're not doing anything different with the franchise to like stray from like the original formula. And I'm kind of feeling like, why would I want them to try something new? Like the whole premise is like these dinosaurs are all congregated on this one island, and humanity's dumb enough to keep sending new people to see them. That's what you want. It's the same reason why people come back to see the 85th Godzilla movie. It's like they just want to see Godzilla.
Right. And I would actually push back on that a little bit. I think this was the first movie that hasn't relied on the use of having to go, oh, but look, this is what the terror that happened to this park, or this is the terror that happened to this one. It felt very separate to me.
Yeah.
I felt like they did a good job of highlighting the past, but really moving on from it.
That's how you want a sequel done.
Yeah.
I think the Jonathan Bailey's character, the scientist, at one point, he mentions one of the characters.
He mentioned Hammond.
Yeah, I think.
They name-dropped him one time, too.
Yeah, I think he mentions Alan, too.
Oh, okay.
And it just was, like, very tastefully done. Again, all of it was tasteful. Like, it just felt very appropriate and moderated. And it didn't feel like they were dangling fan service in front of you. It felt like if I'm a movie fan who's never seen a Jurassic Park movie, I could go into this and enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like intellectually stimulated, but I don't know if I need to with these movies. You know,
that's not what you're going for at all.
No.
And two more quick things I want to touch on with that. I feel like this movie was potentially the scariest I felt in the movie, and I'm sure that's partly just because of the quality of it being so good as well. And I'm sure I would have felt that more for the first one, but I felt like it was there was a couple moments where I kind of jolted a little bit, and I was feeling a little whatever. So that was very good. It was very good that way.
I felt the first act dragged.
Okay. And setting it up.
It had the same effect as like Kong Skull Island for me. I don't know if you've ever seen Kong Skull Island. Yeah. The first third of that movie is them like, it's the huge like 60s, 70s Vietnam War type of vibe where it's just showing the people meeting, and it's almost like the movie treats these characters like off rip. They're expecting you to care, and you don't at all.
Yeah.
And then the second they're flying into Skull Island and Kong appears in the sunset,
it's
you're
like perfect.
Oh, we're in.
Because that's what you came for.
You're right. I'm so in. And it's the same thing. Like, I don't care about these characters until the point where the dinosaurs start trying to, like, eat them alive. And then I'm like, oh, okay, so we're locked in. But, like, in the beginning, like, Scarlett Johansson's character is talking to these other people, and they're bickering and they're bantering and, like, they're quipping with each other. And it's almost like they're expecting me to laugh. And I just, like, I wasn't invested yet. And I'm sure, like, maybe, like, give me some time. But, like, I always get, like, a little bit shell-shocked when movies, like, almost, like, expect you to lock in that fast.
Yeah.
So I felt like it dragged a little bit in that sense, in the first act. But the second and third paced themselves pretty fairly, and I felt like it was just an enjoyable movie. I don't think it was anything special, but I also don't think it was going for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, for better and for worse, it was very formulaic to what they usually do.
Absolutely, yeah.
So,
and in some ways, they strayed from the formula that
that's true.
The sequels have kind of settled into that people hated, and it benefits from it.
Yeah.
It just goes back to the Jurassic Park roots.
Yeah. To go to some negatives here, for me, I think the biggest thing I felt was that there was about three arcs that were little side arcs that were things that they were trying to make you feel something with. And to me, they didn't land at all. I felt like they were all very undercooked. They were like enough of the movie that you were supposed to like feel something for, but not enough that like you actually ended up feeling something for.
Yeah.
In Thunderbolts, when we watched it, the whole connection with Yelena, Red Guardian, so many things tied together, and that was the whole point of it. And I think in a movie like this, that's not the point at all. Is to have some deep message behind it, right? And I felt like they understood that, but they were like, maybe we can try and just boost it a little bit by having these little extra things in there. And to me, it just didn't work great. And without getting into like spoilers, I'll come back to that point when we get into spoilers. But,
sure. Do you want to now?
Should we start that now?
Why don't we know?
Okay.
Feels like a good segue.
Yeah, okay. First part of that, we get immediately, like, the whole beginning of it is set up by, I think her name's Zora, right? Scarlet. Scarlet's called Zora. There's Z or whatever.
I think so.
Z. Anyway,
that was the one thing I like noticed like towards the end. I was like, I don't know if I know
anybody's
any of these
name.
characters' names.
Yeah, I had no idea. I think it was Zora and Duncan. Anyway,
yes,
was the two names.
Yeah,
they're both on the ship then at a scene, and she's sitting there, and they're both trying to talk about like their grief with like things that have happened and popped up, and she mentions the fact that she has had a person that she just lost on her last like main mission thing, and she's like choking up like a lot and like trying to like really make you feel like this is important to her.
Yeah.
And you can see that, and
then
I thought that was fine.
She's like, how's your wife? And he's like, oh, we're not together.
Yeah. So yes,
and then he's like, "Oh well, we divorced after our son died."
Like, yeah, okay.
Just keep stacking.
So you're like, okay, all right, that's heavy.
Yeah,
but then they never touch back on that for the rest of the movie.
No.
She loses like 3 or 4 more people on her crew, so way more than that one, and she doesn't even care.
No.
Every time they go, she's just like, oh shoot, I guess we got to press on though.
Yeah.
Like. She doesn't care. So I just felt like that was such a like a scene to like make you like be like, okay, wow, maybe they are going to take this a little bit deeper and like try to have this underlying narrative here. And then like a second later her person gets eaten out of the water by the mesosaurs, and then she's just like, oh,
oh dang,
oh, like I was like, oh, okay.
And can I say about Scarlett Johansson, I again grew up loving her as Black Widow. Great actress. I've seen her in some other things too. She's just a great actress. I don't think there's another actress in the industry that's more like this lady. Like she's the fancy one-liner type. She's like the amount of times in this movie she would like the scene would start and she'd like throw a bag around her shoulder and be like, let's get out of this place.
I know.
And then she'd just turn around and walk away. Like, that's like her whole MO. And I feel like she's like done that a little bit. Like, towards the end with Black Widow, she settled into that. Like, she's like the one-liner lady. And it just kind of, it's almost like a stereotype that she's embraced that I kind of can't take seriously.
Okay.
Oh, those dinosaurs are coming. We got to get out of here. And like, she would just like turn around like we're in, like watching a Disney Channel show and like walk away a little bit. And it just felt like...
Is it crazy to say, though, that while I get your point, I feel like it works for her? She just feels like she's born to do action movies like this, man.
Yeah, and I'm glad she's back to doing like the blockbuster thing.
Yeah,
I think some actors try for like the smaller movies, and it just like they're not made for it, or they are fine in it, and I just would rather see them in this.
To continue the thing on arcs for me too, with the family, another big thing that they were trying to push forward was again I don't know names, but the boyfriend of the daughter.
Dude.
They're trying to push forward him being the most lazy, slobby, like inconsiderate person ever, like the worst person you can think of. And to me, the way he's going, she's like, "Oh, you don't see the side of him I do." What is there to see? Like, first off, like what side? Like he's been just awful. Like he's terrible. And then they start to like finally show like the redeeming side when he jumps after her to go get her. And I was like, okay, so they're gonna like it's clear like we're gonna see if he didn't die right away. I was like, then we're gonna see a nice like character progression here. They do that, and then the dad's like, you know what, respect to you, and he brushes him off. He's like
smacks him on the chest.
Yeah, he smacks him. Yeah. And then you get like another scene forward where he does something great. I don't remember what it was. He does something great, and you're like, okay, all right, now we're getting back to it. The dad comes up to him and says something, and they like have a moment, and then he's like, he makes some like snarky comment about like, thank you, handsome, or something, right? And I'm like, okay. A second later, though, then he does another thing, and he looks at the dad, and he's like, cause like a nod of approval, like this is for family, you know?
Yeah.
Like it was like they couldn't make up their mind which way he was gonna go.
And then from the moment they hop in the air vent to the moment they get off the island, I don't think the camera hits him once.
No.
He just
that
disappears.
Was it.
He just disappears from the movie.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
The idea's not bad. They just did not like cook it at all.
No.
It's like they put it in the oven for about 5 seconds and they were like, oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, they defrosted
it.
it.
We don't have enough patience for that. That's not what this is about, you know?
Yeah.
That's just a side dish.
And I think for like people like you and I both know like people like guys our age that are like that.
Yeah.
And you're hearing like they're trying to like present this whole like underlying like, oh, the dad and the son are going to bond, and the girl's like, oh, there's a side to him that I see that you don't. And you and I are both like, I was looking at that, and I know people like that, and I'm like, there is no other side.
No, there's no other side.
He's just a schlub. He's exactly what we thought he was.
And like, you're right, I am lazy. So like, that's not a character arc. That's just, he just admitted that he, like, at least he's self-aware.
Right.
Oh, okay, good, he's self-aware.
Yeah.
Like, that's not that good to me. That doesn't like... move the needle at all.
Do you think that was chopped up? You think they had something and then just
I don't
scrapped it
know.
'cause it was just a lot to
I don't
do?
know. But do you see what I'm saying, though,
do.
with the arcs? It's just like, I don't know.
They
It was
do
very
that a little bit in
underwhelming.
Jurassic World too. They had the whole thing, like I just said, with the parents getting
Yep.
divorced, but then at the end, like the sons are like in the infirmary, and the parents are both like they got their arms around each other and they're like hugging the boys and stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess we're
Alright,
just a happy family again.
Yeah, okay, cool.
2 days. 2 days later.
Another thing I did think, too, was... I think it was called the Distors Rex was the name that they were going for with the...
Oh, yeah, the D-Rex.
Yeah, the D-Rex. The D-Rex. What did you think of him? To me, in all the other movies, they've always had some like reasoning behind why this dinosaur in particular is worse than the other ones, right? It's always been this. To me, the only thing different was just he looked really ugly. Like, it was just like he looks like he's got that alien head on him.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that, like, it just didn't move the needle to me, to be honest. And they didn't build him up other than just that little intro segment at all. Like, he just comes out of nowhere. And it was like, you just have to have understood that that was the thing from the beginning because it was at the same place.
Right.
Like, it makes sense. Like, it wasn't like a hard connection. I just mean more like it was never shown at all, except just that. Or, like, given a reason why it was better. You
It
know?
seemed to me that the idea of mutated dinosaurs in this movie were less to push the needle in terms of like what they were doing with the dinosaurs, and it was more like a plot device for why the people needed to be there.
Okay.
Like the plot device was less the key dinosaurs here, and it was more like why they needed to interact with them. You know what I mean? Like they needed them to get the blood samples for the cure for heart disease, and this guy just happened to be an ugly dinosaur. Whereas, like, with Jurassic Park and Jurassic World, it was like, avoid the T-Rex at all costs because he's, like, the apex predator. Avoid the, what is it, the Indominus Rex or something like that, because he's the apex predator, like, and he's the guy we're looking out for, and he's the one, he's out on the loose. Like, this one didn't even leave the compound. He killed everybody, and he, like, broke the door open, and then he was just like, I'll just chill here and wait for more people to come.
He's good. He's good, that's it.
Yeah, I will say, that scene where the chopper was coming in to like evac them and like they disappeared in the fog and then the thing had it.
That was awesome.
That was cool. That was a cool twist. Because I was thinking,
I wasn't ready for that either.
I was thinking, is this really just going to be like your cliche, like, oh, we got to get to the chopper type of thing, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then like that's it?
I thought they were going to have it be that. I thought they were going to have like a scene where it's like you're dangling from the rope and then he comes in. So I just wasn't ready for it at that moment.
Yeah.
So it totally caught me.
Yeah.
And did you, at the very beginning when they do that first intro segment with him as well, that transition they had from the burning fire, where they like zoom out and then it becomes the Jurassic Park logo.
Yeah, that was cool.
Was awesome.
That was
cool. Really cool.
I will say, my dad and I saw it last night. My dad and I had interesting circumstances surrounding our theater experience. And why I had a hard time focusing in that first act. It might have not even been the movie. It might have just been the people that were next to us. Like, there were 10 people talking in our theater. All 10 of them were to my left and my dad's right.
Just in the movie?
Yes. There was a group of 16-year-old boys that were to my left that were, like, scrolling through TikTok the whole time. Room voices. Oh, yeah. And they were, like chuckling. And every time there was, like, a funny moment in the movie, like, they would, like, mock laugh at the thing. And it was, like, they just, like, sucked the air out of the room. And then to my dad's right, there was this person that, like, had no theater etiquette. They came in with a large popcorn and a large soda, and they literally knocked my dad's water out of the cup holder to put their soda in. And they put their arm, they, like, slouched back and put their arm, like, on my dad's arm. So they were just, like, spread out. And so my dad is sitting there like this.
Oh, my goodness.
And they start eating their popcorn, but they were rustling it around the thing, and they were eating it one kernel at a time, and they were breathing heavy and moaning while they were eating it. So they were slurping the thing, they were slurping the soda or slushy or whatever it was, and then they would go back and they would literally pop it like this, not even coming up for air. Just
Oh, my gosh.
Eventually I leaned over to my dad because there were 2 seats to our left, like closer to the guys, and I was like, pick your poison. But I was like, you want to move? And my dad's like so polite. I thought he was going to be like, no, it's okay. I don't want to offend anybody. My dad was like, yes.
So you got up and moved?
We got up and we shifted 2 seats.
Okay.
We picked our poison.
Yeah.
And it was okay.
Yeah.
But that first act was a little hard to focus.
Oh, my gosh.
Maybe that's it.
If you're going to a movie on opening night and you're, like, not actually paying attention like that, like, what are you doing?
Right.
It's opening night.
Why'd you pay that money?
What are you doing?
There were 6 or 7 of those guys. That had to have cost at least $100-something in tickets.
Right. Dude, I know this is like a whole other thing, but
Walk around the mall and talk.
My tickets for 2 of them were like almost $40.
I paid $42 for my dad and I.
Yeah, and that's not even including snacks.
Back row.
Were you in back row?
2D.
Are you a back row guy?
For a while, I've been back row because I got tired of people kicking the back of my freaking seat.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm a first row guy by heart. Well, no. Not that. No. I don't know what most theaters look like, but like every Regal around here has it where they do that front little row. Yeah, just look at mouth hung open. That's funny. But they always have it where they have the little railing, man. That's where you do it.
When the cars drive by, you're like...
People that sit in those seats at the very bottom in front of the screen are actually sickos.
Crazy, dude.
Who does that?
3D, just...
Who does that?
I don't know.
That's terrible. I really can't imagine it.
Crazy.
I really can't imagine
I don't even remember what you were saying, though.
I don't either. But...
for all I know, the first act could have been the best one.
It could have been.
I would never know.
Too much slurping.
Too much slurping, too much talking.
One like other kind of, I don't know if you call it a con of the movie. You ever have moments where you like potentially take the movie a little too serious, where you start really breaking down like every little thing that happens, and you're like, that just doesn't make sense.
Yes.
So in the scene where they're going out into the field, they go into the field, and I know you were just talking about this. I assume this is the scene you were saying you liked.
Mm-hmm.
They go into this field looking for these long, like, snake-like, with, like, they're, I don't even know.
I think I know what you're about to say to make me laugh.
So they're walking and tiptoeing through this little field. Mm-hmm. The grass is probably, I don't know, a foot taller than they are.
Chest high.
Yeah. So it's like, it's, you know, it's high, but whatever. All of a sudden, they're like, there's no noise. Absolutely nothing. It's quiet.
And also the camera pans around and nothing in sight.
Yes. There's nothing in sight. All of a sudden, two just stand up. And they just stand up, and it starts playing the Jurassic theme, and you're like, oh my gosh, look, there they are. And then it pans out. There's about 5 of them right around them. Yeah. And then it pans out a little more. There's like hundreds of them walking.
There's a herd.
And they're all making the loud noises and stuff. And I'm like,
yeah.
So basically, you're meaning to tell me that they were just hiding in the weeds. They somehow didn't pop up above those weeds, even though they're ginormous.
Right.
Didn't make a noise.
Yeah.
And then just all collectively decided to pop up at the same time.
Yeah. Well, the movie wanted them to.
Like, exactly. Like, I know I'm thinking too much about this, but it was just like one of those things where you're like,
I know
what is going on?
Where were they?
Yeah.
If the grass is chest high and they're the size of the World Trade Center, then what is going on?
It just made no sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, still a cool scene. But
yeah, it was cool. I thought the music was cool, and I loved like the emotional levity to like the scientist who's only ever studied these and like worked in a museum, like being able to like reach out and touch one, and just the music swelling. It was just that might have been my favorite scene.
Really?
Yeah, it might have been.
I really couldn't get over it, man.
But they did something similar when the girl is trying to take the inflatable raft from the cargo crate, and the T-Rex is sleeping. And the T-Rex sits up, and the raft inflates and props up in front of her. It falls back down.
And it's
the
just
T-Rex is gone.
It's gone. It did the Spider-Man 3 James Franco.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Train goes by, he's just gone.
Yeah, and also, do we want to talk before we go into, because you've seen all of the Jurassic Park movies.
I just did a big rewatch. Yeah,
and I haven't seen all of them, so I'll let you lead this. At the end. Mahershala Ali's character Duncan, he sacrifices himself. He takes the D-Rex up the river, and he pins himself up against a tree. The D-Rex is like from here to here. The next scene is him swimming out to them.
Yes.
And I was like, all right, hey, probably my favorite character in the movie. So sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Dude, I'm so glad you said that because I would have forgotten about that. That was so funny. First they go, oh, it's attracted to light. He takes the flare. Oh, come at me. Why didn't he just throw it?
I know.
Why didn't he throw it?
Just launch it.
I was actually going to be really mad if he died because of that. And then you're right. He pins him down. He's laughing. And I was like, okay, he's laughing because it's like, I tricked you. Got you. He's just fine. What did he do?
Did
then he decide to throw the flare?
And then just walk out?
Yeah, he said, all right, we're good. They, like, dapped up.
Right.
They dapped up and left. But, like, really, what happened there?
I don't know.
He just left, and they don't explain it ever.
Right.
He's just fine. Yeah. Hey.
Like, do you think, like, the D-Rex comes out first?
Yeah, and why was the D-Rex not attracted to him yelling in the water? Like,
And also,
he wasn't that far.
also the flare went out. The flare went out. The D-Rex comes
Yes.
out. The D-Rex goes back. He comes out with the flare.
It's like he just handed him the flare,
The
and then the D-Rex just like
a
ate the
relay,
flare.
like a 4x100.
He like tricked
He
him.
was the fourth leg.
Yeah. They just pan over like the post-credit scene is just the D-Rex running through, hitting the finish line. That's funny. Yeah. Again, it's like those stupid things, and I know for a movie like Jurassic World, it's like you can't think about it too deeply.
You just
really
don't care
can't.
enough to. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think
offended.
that's why movies like this just can't be like a 9.5 out of 10 for me. Ever.
Right.
They just can't be. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Especially if you're going to base your movie off of, like, a scientific premise. You kind of
Yeah.
want to, like... You don't want to... Like, again, I'm not looking to be totally, like, intellectually, like, satisfied, but, like, it's got to... You can't have, like, constant loose ends.
You can't, yeah. And it was just, like, a little frustrating. Like, it was so obvious, like,
Right.
what in the
And it's
world?
weird where it's, like, that fine line between a scientific movie, sci-fi movie, and a summer blockbuster that usually is never taken seriously.
Okay, so I know you touched on this before, but I did just do a rewatch, and I don't want to be a long, exhaustive thing on this, but I did
No.
want to kind of go through my personal ranking here.
Yeah, go for it.
And just kind of give a little thoughts quick on that.
And I'm sitting back, because I've only seen 4 or 5 of the movies.
You've
out
seen
of
them,
the
but not really that fresh, right?
Yeah, I've seen...
For the most-
I think I've seen one... I've seen The Lost World. I think I saw Jurassic... Yeah, I saw Jurassic World and some of Dominion, which is weird. It's just weird that I'm,
Yeah.
like, skipping around. I don't know why I'm doing that. But, yeah, and then obviously I saw Rebirth, but
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in no place to rank all of them, so I'll let you take this.
So I have in 7th, I have Jurassic World 3, Dominion.
Is it that bad?
Yeah. It feels like one of those, there's just so much happening, and it feels like one of those things where they're just trying to go for the nostalgia pop.
The cameos don't even save it?
No,
Like, from the
I mean,
original
that's the
people?
only good part, though.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I don't think it's like, like, it's not like, whatever, but
Sure.
it's just, it's really not great. It's not great. 6th, I have Jurassic Park 3. I know some people are higher on this movie.
Is that bad?
No. It's like it doesn't help too that I'm a big hater on movies that are not current, like recent, because of graphics and stuff. So when you add in the fact that it just is a stinker, like it's just not good.
Wasn't it something like this was the first time they tried like the CGI dinosaurs instead of like the like full like everything was CGI rather than
Yeah.
like some like puppets and some like animatronics and
Yeah, it just wasn't very clean. The movie's like an hour and 25 minutes long, which first up, I've never seen something like that
so it's
before.
like a holiday special.
Dude, I was watching and I'm like 50 minutes in and I'm like, are we almost done? Like cuz it felt like we were getting to the conclusion and I look at it. It's like, are you serious?
So there's like no
So
emotional
that's the
investment.
one positive I'll give that movie is it ended quickly. That's something. Those two are the main movies that I can't watch.
Okay.
Those two I can't watch. So if we're sectioning here, 5th I have Jurassic World 2, Fallen Kingdom. This movie is really interesting to me. The first half I think is great. Like I really like that movie. First half. It gets ruined the second they do the dino auction. I don't know if you remember that part.
No, I did not see
okay.
this one. I don't know
Oh,
why I
you haven't
skipped
seen this
Yeah,
one.
I don't know why I
Okay.
skipped this one, but I did.
Okay, well, you might need to hear this. So, they do this dino auction, right? They bring these last they have the beginning sequence where it's like this the island that has all the dinosaurs on it
Yep.
is getting exploded by a volcano. So they have like this big ethical dilemma: do they save them or do they let them go extinct?
Okay.
A lot of people are arguing it's like one of those things that it's like, okay, like God intervened and already had them dead, so
I
like
see.
we brought them back, like we need to let that go. Anyway, so they bring some back to the mainland, and then there's a point at the end where they figure everything out, they've defeated everything, but they have all these dinosaurs like trapped in this main mansion area that's being gassed out like actively. So basically, like they're all gonna die, and that's the end of dinosaurs for good. So these are like the last remaining ones. They have most of the species there.
Okay.
And it's Cassie has like a way that she can open the door to like let them free.
Is Cassie the kid in this
No,
one?
no. She's the red-haired woman. Chris Pratt's love interest.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is her name Cassie? I haven't seen this
I
movie
think
in
it's
forever.
Cassie. No,
It's been forever. You're probably right. I don't even know.
I don't know. I'm not good with names. I'm not good with names at all. I always know them by the
I have
actors'
no
names
idea
instead.
either,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
So she does this, and then like right after, she's like trying to decide, oh, should I pull the lever and let them go? She doesn't. But then this little girl that they've just saved, she pulls it.
Oh, good.
Because she sympathizes with her because she too was a clone. So she was a clone. The little girl was a clone. Anyways, it's a long story.
Like a human clone?
She's a human clone. She's a human clone of the main guy's daughter who died, but he wanted to bring the daughter back. Anyway, crazy, right? So,
I never even
she
knew that.
she empathizes with the dinosaurs because she too was cloned.
Oh, of course.
So guess what they do? They let the dinosaurs loose, and they just populate the Earth. So that's why we get all the events in Dominion, where the whole Earth is populated. So basically, because a couple dinosaurs have some feelings, and we care about them, you know, they're real dinosaurs too, right? Even though they can make other ones, like they've done it in the past, why can't they make more? They just let them go, and the whole world gets overrun by dinosaurs. Like, what sense does that make? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
Oh, but like this is why you don't let little children make the decisions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like I feel like it was one of those
Is this girl
endings.
in the third movie?
Yeah.
Oh, she is?
Yeah.
Did she die?
No. It would have been nice.
I see what the third one is at the bottom.
Fourth, I have Jurassic Park 2. This is where it starts to shift to, like, that movie's pretty good. There's nothing, like, crazy in the movie. They have a couple scenes that, like, have those same things that I was talking about with, like, the tropes where you're like, okay, like, these things perfectly happened. And it's like, it feels like it's just for the movie, but it's good. The scene where they're going off the cliff, and they're in the train cars. Like, see, that's a perfect example. Two things on that. The train car, the T-Rex comes up, knocks one of them off, because he's pushing them up against the cliff. He knocks one of them off, but not the second. So, like, if you just pushed off the second one, they all just fall to their death. But he perfectly leaves it so it's right on the cliff edge so that they can still make their way back up.
Of course, a master
Right?
at work.
Right. So it's just like, what sense does that make?
Yeah.
There's also a scene that actually might be one of my favorite things that I actually went and showed you about it because I thought it was so funny. Where it's the little girl and, like, the main love interest are in the tent together. You saw, dude, so funny. The T-Rex is in the tent, and they go, so the shot is T-Rex face in the tent, and then it pans out to a guy out by, like, the camp, and he screams. The T-Rex looks up, starts shaking the tent, and it flies off. They then pan, next shot is the girl and the woman just running out, like they've been, like, with the people in the camp the whole time. I was like... So I was like, shout out.
You watched it and you, like, had to rewind it?
Yeah, I rewinded it. Like, you know when they, like, slowly creep toward the
Blow that up.
Yeah. Third is where I'm going to go ahead and put Jurassic World Rebirth.
Okay.
I don't think it's better than the Jurassic Park 1 or World 1.
That's exactly where I have it.
That's where you have it, too?
In my
Okay, so maybe this is where you can jump in with that. I just don't... I really liked Jurassic World 1. I think better than most people did.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I saw that in theater, but I think I did. But I remember really liking that movie. There's, like, a couple things, but I felt like that was the most similar the franchise has ever been to the original Jurassic Park 1. It has just a lot of fun things going on. Chris Pratt.
He's so much fun in that
He
movie.
is so... Yeah.
He's very charismatic.
So cool.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people didn't like this, but I love when he's riding in with the Raptors, man. He's on the motorcycle.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
That
So
feels
cool.
like a scene that was supposed to be iconic, and people just never received it the way it deserved.
I think it was cool. It was awesome.
I think that's what I'm saying. I just think
Yeah.
I wish the general public, like, welcomed that in with like some of the other scenes. Like, I feel like that should be talked about more.
Yeah.
In like modern cinema. Mm-hmm. It's just not. I don't know.
Yeah. So I have that too, Jurassic
Okay.
World 1. And then, of course, Jurassic Park 1, number 1.
Goes without saying.
I think, this might be blasphemous to say, I think I would rather watch Jurassic World 1 than Jurassic Park 1.
Really?
I would rather
Even
watch
though
it.
it's at the top?
Yeah. Because of the legacy involved with it. Like, these other movies don't happen unless Jurassic Park 1 happens. And it was just so, like, revolutionary for its time. Like, nobody had seen something like that. Dinosaurs done like that at all, or anything close to it. And I remember hearing people talking about how, well, people have told me that when they saw it there, that, like, it was, like, such a mind-blowing, shocking thing to see how well they came to life.
Yeah.
And it still holds pretty well to today. Like, you watch the movie and it still feels very good, especially for a movie in 1993. However, I just think if you just took the movies and put them as they are, take away the kind of history, culture, and the fact that it's the original idea for Jurassic Park 1, I think World 1 is a little bit better as a movie. Like, just factoring everything in. I know that sounds blasphemous, but
I think it handles the fear factor of the dinosaurs better.
Yeah.
Whether that be because of technology or what, but
it probably is.
Think I agree
it probably is, but I think you still have to put it at 1 because of all those other factors. So,
yeah. I dig it. I like it. Solid list.
Okay.
What are your lists? Comment below. Yeah, because I'm sure this will be a short.
I did kind of want to ask you as well if you think the franchise should continue from here.
I'd be fine if it didn't, but I'm sure it will, and I'm sure I'll watch it.
Yeah. Okay.
I think my thoughts are as simple as that.
Yeah.
And I love to rant.
Yeah.
I think it's a franchise where it's run its course, and then it came back and did it again, and there will always be an audience for it.
Mm-hmm.
But again, as much as there is an audience for these creature feature movies where there's just like a horrifying thing, and dumb people are getting chased by it, like as much as people flock to that every time, I don't know. I would hate for the Jurassic franchise to just become a laughing stock.
Mm-hmm.
At the moment, you're in a place where people say, yeah, I mean, it's been done before, so I just don't know if I feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a good place to end. I don't know if you want to go all the way and have people be like, another one where they're like laughing at you.
Yeah.
I think now is a good place to halt it or something. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe do like a limited series or something. I don't know. Again, you're in a safe spot where people don't understand why there's sequels, but they're not mocking you, and you're teetering in territory where you could potentially become a laughing stock if you keep it going too long. So I'd say go out while you still can.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure if this movie makes even over like $300 million, they'll do another.
Well, that's part of it. Is I would say I agree. I think I don't like to usually put like a timetable on movies,
mm-hmm.
but I do think it's the kind of thing that if you did like maybe every 5 years,
yeah,
it could work.
Sure,
5-7 years. I know that's a big jump, but like if you're gonna keep it going at this point, you know what I mean?
We mentioned it in passing in like one of the first 2 episodes of the podcast, but like the thing we suggested where it's like you could revolutionize this franchise and make it very fresh
mm-hmm.
is if you took the Planet of the Apes route.
Yes.
And you made it so that with each passing thing, like the dinosaurs like were growing intellectually.
Which they did in Jurassic World 3, but they didn't really like do it at all like Planet of the Apes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they had the idea there, they just didn't execute it well at all.
Right. It just would be so interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying I want to see like a raptor like making pancakes.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I just think it'd be like kind of cool to see them like become more intellectual.
Yeah,
and like really start to catch on to
totally.
like human tricks, and then you have like a war going on between like humans and dinosaurs. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think I've underestimated the name value of Jurassic Park / World.
Okay.
Because I have seen already that it's on pace to do in the opening weekend. It's already on pace to make its budget back, just the opening weekend.
Which was what?
$250.
Really?
So they're on pace. That like people think they're probably going to end up making around at least $700 million from this movie.
So there's going to be a sequel.
So there's going to be another one.
There's going to be something.
And especially considering that it's coming off of the back of probably the worst received movie in the whole franchise.
Yeah.
And they still are going to get this. And I didn't even realize this, but do you know the other movies, the last 3 Jurassic Worlds, have all been $1 billion movies? All 3 of them.
I thought I heard that somewhere.
Isn't that crazy?
That is wild, especially the last 2.
I can't believe that.
Yeah.
Especially just given the quality of the movie. So I don't know if necessarily like the quality of the movie in this case is going to be enough to bump it. But
mm-hmm.
I guess I underestimated how many people grew up on it, and then also for people like us that like still grew up on it, that they were shown that as well.
Yeah.
That's like you just get a lot of people in the door, and
mm-hmm.
I guess I didn't estimate that for Jurassic Park, you know?
We'll have to see, dude.
Yeah, if they do a sequel, would you want these characters to return?
Or would you want every movie in this, like, or every movie that continues to be, like, a new group of idiots that go to this island?
That could be interesting. I think I would rather... I could see it continuing,
mm-hmm.
but, like, you really got to touch into, like, the grief aspect of her losing her team. That'd be interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's something they
got to
really
touch on something that's kind of not done yet with that, like a deeper realm to
right.
it. You know, not just like, oh my gosh, there's some other reason we got to go back.
And but then you risk it being like Five Nights at Freddy's type, where it's like a Five Nights at Freddy's thing, and we just want to see the animatronics, and you're spending an hour and 20 minutes out of the hour and 40-minute runtime like focused on the humans that we could care less about.
Yeah,
you know, like that's the risk you run.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I think we covered the Jurassic franchise enough. I think the people are probably satisfied at this point. So, are we transitioning?
Yes.
We're doing it.
We'll transition.
We'll transition into
Just a few good old
Good old Bernard or Backets.
good old poke the bear.
Time to poke the
We already touched on how it did last week, so why not go back to the well a little more?
Let's do some Bernard or Backett.
A little more Bernard or Backett.
Love that theme.
No, I'm just going
I was waiting. I was hoping we were getting
We
one
have a
here.
budget of $5. We do not have a theme. No theme in sight.
Okay. Planet of the Apes is a better franchise than Jurassic Park.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm holding this in front of my chest. I learned from
Okay.
last
Yes,
week.
I know.
By the
All
way.
right, ready? 3, 2, 1.
I'm backing.
Okay, you're backing it.
Backing.
Okay, I'm backing too.
Backing.
I'm glad to hear that. I just think there's so much of a deeper story behind Planet of the Apes.
I love Planet of the Apes, dude.
It's so much action, but also it feels like you really there's just more to it.
That, you know what? I'm picking up where we left off with our conversation last week. Somebody else had submitted a hot take on no movie franchises continued and retained the same level of quality. Planet of the Apes is one of those franchises.
Mm-hmm.
Just awesome.
We just saw that comment today, actually, and I can't believe we didn't mention that. Maybe we did, but I don't think we.
I don't think we did. Just a great franchise.
It is
consistently good, emotional, exciting, surprising.
Yeah,
and not that Jurassic Park and World haven't been that, but I don't know. I don't know if it's maybe just more fresh because it's a newer kind of take on the franchise. I know Planet of the Apes has been around for a while, but
I feel like Planet of the Apes has a tough thing to follow with Jurassic Park, right? Because that was kind of the mold for it before, right? With the beginning ones, like it's a similar basis of what's happening, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that they've made it that each movie feels unique to the franchise itself, and kind of steps away from it, where it almost becomes the thing of like, this is what they should have done.
Yeah.
And we mentioned that for Jurassic World 3, where they kind of start to do something like that. It just, they do it so well. War is one of my favorite movies.
The interesting dynamic with Planet of the Apes that Jurassic Park and World don't have is just that, like you were implying, the power dynamic and the struggle between humans and apes, where at first it was the apes are gaining intelligence, and now you see at the end of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, there's like an underlying thing of like humans have been like behind the scenes, like slowly like regaining power, and then you're going to see like the humans start to go from like the Neanderthal level like back up to intelligence, and the apes might go down. Like you could just continuously ebb and flow and swap both and find stories for both.
Still feels equally cool.
And it's always going to be fresh, probably. Like, you likely could always keep it fresh. They probably will cut it off at a point, but you could keep that fresh.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I totally back that. I totally 100% back that.
Okay. The Jurassic Park and World franchise is overrated. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1. You're back on that.
Overrated?
You think it's overrated? Okay. You're going to flash the side one more time? You think it's overrated? Can I hear why?
I think so.
One of those things where I think the first movie is so good,
Yes.
and then they rebooted it, and that first movie is so good that it's like hype that's been like every last drop of the water has been squeezed from the towel. Like, it just feels like we're still riding off the energy of the first movie, hoping we can strike gold again, and in certain ways they have. Like I'm saying more the franchise as a whole is overrated. Jurassic Park is not overrated. Jurassic World is not overrated. If anything, it's underrated. I just feel that the franchise as a whole and the amount of times they've tried to rehash it, that's where it kind of teeters into that territory. It's one of the most revolutionary ideas that's ever been put to film. The whole idea of the franchise, the fact that it's still around at this point with new movies surprises me, and that tells me it's slightly overrated. Like, when they announced this new movie, I was like, really?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where you kind of,
Okay. I'd push back because I don't think people refer to Jurassic films as, like, the best that there is. I think people refer to them as they are. So that's why I feel like, in a way, it's properly rated. I don't think anybody's ever told me that outside of the first one that there's anything that's just incredible about the series.
Okay.
I think it almost just carries a lot of name weight because of that. And I think that makes it feel like it's overrated to people. But I can't tell you if I've ever heard anybody, like, preach to me that they say, like, the Jurassic films are just the
hold
best
it
ever.
in super high esteem.
Yeah.
Okay, so you think that people are flocking just for a good
Time, not
Right.
for
I think
quality.
people understand what these movies are. And I think while they could be better, I still think that they're properly rated for what they are.
Okay.
You know?
I think that's fair.
And that's even including bad movies in there. But
okay. For the sake of...
Yes.
For the sake of respectability, I have to stand on business here. I can't flip-flop on every take, but you do make a really good argument here.
Okay. All right.
On that topic, I have one more Bernard or Backett.
Okay.
So let's cards back out.
Cards back out.
Both Oppenheimer and Barbie are overrated, and I think people are afraid to admit that that's the case just because of the amount of hype that was centered around Barbenheimer.
3, 2, 1. I totally back that.
Big ol' Backett.
I totally back that.
Dude, you've seen Barbie.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen Oppenheimer?
I know a bit of it. Yeah, I haven't seen it fully.
Oppenheimer is a good movie, and Barbie is a fun movie. For them to have captivated the world in the way that they have, it's again, I'm not comparing them to this movie other than the circumstance. Feels to me a little bit like meme culture taking over, like Minecraft. Like a Minecraft movie, like the hype around the idea of the movie or the timing of the movie or whatever. Like, it's almost like the joke of, oh, Barbenheimer, oh, back-to-back, oh, Barb. It feels like that was... I'm watching Oppenheimer, and I'm like, is this a great movie? Yeah. Are the performances great? Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, Cillian Murphy deserved the Oscar. And Robert Downey Jr. But am I watching it and I'm like, this is the most revolutionary thing I've ever seen in my entire life? Like, people are saying, no, it's not. It's not. And I think people are afraid to admit that it's not as good as... It's not as good as they're saying it is. I think people are nervous about it because I think it's like a herd mentality thing. I think it's okay to not like it just because the hype around it was huge.
Yeah.
Same with Barbie. Fun movie. Movie makes no sense. Movie makes no sense. And people are like, oh, it's a Barbie movie, don't take it seriously. But I don't think that's what they were going for. They were going for, like, an actual deep, like... They were trying to, like, touch on, like, really emotional themes there. And the final couple minutes, like, get you a little bit where she, like, has, like, the existential crisis. But I'm watching it and I'm like, I don't know what the heck is going on. Like, for an hour of this movie, I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, what is going on? Yeah. I don't know. It just felt scattered a little bit.
Yeah.
Again, maybe I am taking it more seriously than I should. And
no, I get that. I get that take.
I just felt like they were...
But people talk about it now like it's like the thing. Like, where were you when... Yes, when Barbenheimer happened.
Dude.
100%.
Like, I just don't get it.
And it's going to pale in comparison the second we get Doomsday, dude.
See, that's something...
Dude, that's something that makes me actually a little annoyed. I know it's not, like, that crazy, but the second we saw the new release date, we were together when we saw that release date, you immediately said, we got Doomsday. And it was so frustrating because I didn't see that till, like, a couple hours later.
You said to me, you got to start tweeting that out there.
Like, right now.
I was like,
Yeah. You, I think, were legit the first person to the punch. Because we saw that right away. You know? You were on that. So that makes me upset. But I like that. I like that take.
I'm glad.
I need to watch Oppenheimer, but...
Again, not total knocks on either movie. I just don't know if I think it's on the level that people are saying it is. And I think people are afraid to admit that they really weren't the, like, greatest movies of all time. It was just the spectacle around having two quality movies coming out the same day, I think was just like...
Cool idea.
Yeah. It's just... I wish movies would do that more, but...
Especially when they're polar opposites, and I think that's why people were so attracted to it.
Right. But I think the spectacle and the hype around it doesn't always have to equal, like, a 10 out of 10.
I agree. Well, dude, we've got a busy month coming up here. We've been talking about it. We just got done with Jurassic, but we've got Superman next week.
This is the third month of the podcast run, and it might be the busiest month that we ever undergo. Like, aside from when Doomsday and Dune Messiah come out, this might be the busiest month of the podcast. We've got Jurassic, like you said, Superman, Fantastic Four. It's insane.
Yes. And we know a lot of the people that would be listening to this are going to have opinions on everything. Again, we mentioned it before. We're so thankful to everyone who listens at all and has anything to say. But we're going to be doing at some point hot takes that we want from you guys. We want to hear a bunch of stuff about Superman. We want to hear about Fantastic Four. And we'll probably put something else out about that later as well.
Yeah.
Any
Marvel or DC hot takes that you guys have, drop them in whatever comment section you're seeing this in. We want to be able to tackle them because we have our hot takes, but we know each other and we don't know you guys yet. So we want to know what you have to say about these movies, and we want to be able to respond.
Yes.
We either want to agree with you or poke the sleeping giant.
Poke the sleeping giant. Do you have anything left to say to the people?
I am. This is the calm before the storm. So
Yes.
I'm savoring the calm because we're about to get rolling here. This
I'm getting
train's about to
antsy,
start
yes.
moving. I got a Fantastic Four T-shirt that's been it's been
Ready to
warmed
come
up,
out.
steam pressed. I've got it hanging in the closet. We're ready to take it out and get Fantastic Four on. We're ready to get Superman.
I might need to get a shirt for that.
We're ready to get Superman going.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have any Superman.
I think we need to get something, dude.
Man, dude,
I think
it's
we need
almost time.
something. Yeah. And as always, you can't outrun destiny, but you can ghost it.